Hey carnivores, I'm Cassandra. Welcome to my Apex Odyssey. Today is the day. Tomorrow is the day. Tomorrow's my 800th day on the carnivore eating plan. And I'm going to post it tomorrow. So whenever it goes live, it will be today. And a lot has changed in the last 26 months since I've been on the carnivore plan. So many health improvements and so many body changes. It's just weird to think about that, but something that I always like to emphasize is once I completely cut plants out of my life, my health got better way before I started losing any weight. So that tells me that it wasn't the fat on my body that was making me feel terrible. It was the plants. And I still eat, a little bit of spices and stuff, but that doesn't seem to cause me any issues. So, and that is just like would be trace amounts if I dust some spices on something. And so I think that's important for people to know, especially when you've had, I still have a lot of weight to lose, but when I started, I had a lot. And, that takes time, years, and it can be, I imagine, disheartening to think that, whenever you start a different eating plan, that this is gonna take years. This is not gonna be an overnight thing. Got 300 pounds to lose, or whatever the case may be. And I'm gonna feel terrible for a long time, but that's not the case. I started feeling much better within a month. A lot of my symptoms started resolving, and I always say that the most important thing to me was my mental health, how much it improved my outlook on life, my ability to cope with stress, just all are, life is worth living again. So that was the most important thing. And I tell people, I have told my doctor this and my therapist, I would put up with, if meat was making me physically sick, if it was damaging my heart in some way, which it's not, if it were making my body aches worse, which it's not, but if it was, I would tolerate a lot of that just for the mental health benefits, because my life was so miserable before. And it wasn't because I was fat, because I'm still fat. And I was, even fatter whenever I first started. So, and within a month, I was so much better and still very fat. So that's something to keep in mind. I wanted to mention too that I just did an interview with Dave Mack at the Zero Carb channel, at which he will be posting pretty soon within the next day and a half or so. And this is what I was wearing. So if you see both of these videos close to the same time, I was literally there just like 30 minutes ago and didn't change. I should have done a wardrobe change, but come on, it's almost bedtime for me. I'm not changing clothes again. So, yeah, you may see that. Hope you do. He does great interviews, and he's always so fun to talk to. And I watch a lot of his interviews too. Important stuff that's happened recently is I got my A1C done, and it was 5.1. I'm just like so ecstatic about that. That's pretty normal. So, interestingly, my insulin did not come down. I paid for the fasting insulin test myself. Now, whenever I first started, I mean, it did come down, but let me tell the story. Whenever I first started, it was 22. The first time I ever had it tested a long time ago in the 90s, it was 33. And I just feel like in the intervening years, it's been way higher than 22 or 33 just because of my lifestyle. But after being on carnivore for like, 6 months, maybe a year, at one point it was 12, and then it went up to 15, and this time when I got it tested, it was 14. And I know it takes a long time for that to come down, but my blood sugar has been a lot more normal recently. So, I mean, that's still getting better. So much healing is still going on. It's just hard to imagine. My rheumatoid arthritis, I also talked to Dave about that. Whenever I first started doing this 26 months ago, I had so much pain, and it was hard to get up and move every day. But I had my doggy. We had to walk, and we kept at it. And eventually, after about 3 months, I started doing carnivore, and over the course of about a month, I was not as short of a breath. My joints hurt a lot less, and it was just, our walks became longer because I was able to walk more. And what we started out as 2 or 3 minutes at a time, and got to now I can walk 20 or 30 minutes. I do still have flare-ups. Healing is not perfect, and it takes a long, long time. But they don't stop me from doing anything for the most part. I guess whenever I'm having a flare-up of something, my joints will be a little stiff and painful, but not enough, that I need to even take any medicine. But I'll be tired and need to rest more, that kind of thing that's still going on. Another huge improvement, aside from the rheumatoid arthritis and my blood sugar, is my ability to focus at work and tolerate stress. And I think my sleep apnea is finally starting to get better. So I had a situation where I was having acid reflux really bad, so bad that I wanted surgery for it, because they wanted to give me proton pump inhibitors, which I just refused to take. So they were giving me this other thing, Pepsid, whatever that is, and I was taking 60 milligrams a day. It was getting it to the point where it was tolerable. So I went to a surgeon, and he was like, "You're getting kind of relief from the medication. Do you really want to do this? The surgery? It's where they wrap part of your stomach around your esophagus to tighten that valve there." But the more I started reading about it, it makes it a one-way valve. So like if I felt nauseous and needed to throw up, it would be almost impossible to do that. Heaven forbid, I hate being nauseous, is the worst. But but can you imagine needing to throw up and not being able to because your valve doesn't open that way? And also, my new CPAP mask. Okay, so my CPAP setting was pretty high. It was 14. And I had been using nasal pillows, and I got to where I couldn't do that. That much pressure going in directly into my nasal passage and my sinuses was just making me wake up with, bloody mucus in my nose, and it was really painful. So I switched to a full face mask, and that was filling my stomach up with air. So I'd be burping, gassy all day. It was significant, a lot of air getting in there. And so I was thinking, if I get this surgery, how am I going to get that air out of there? It's very uncomfortable with that, just tons of air in my stomach. And it would be stuck there for a long time until it worked its way out, down south. But how is that going to work? So I started reading more about it and started just Googling each one of my medicines. And I'm like, does this cause heartburn? Does this cause heartburn? And I found that the valsartan did. And that is a blood pressure medicine. So I stopped taking that. What else was I taking? I stopped taking the Pepsid. And one other thing, I can't remember what it was. But almost immediately, my symptoms went away. So I think it was the valsartan, and I've been off of that for a few weeks. And the last couple of times I've been to the doctor, my blood pressure was almost normal. Just a little bit high, and it's been a little bit high for a long, long time. I think my blood pressure just runs normally a little high. It can, like, my body temperature is a little low, and it's been that way since I was a teenager. So maybe that's kind of normal for me, and it's not causing me any symptoms. It's like, it was like 136 over 80-ish, or 85 when I was there the other day. And the nurse is like, that's not too bad. So if they're not worried about it, I'm not worried about it. They think that I'm keeping it that way by taking blood pressure medicine, but I'm not. Okay, so that's that. So I called and canceled the surgery. I'm not having symptoms anymore. And in addition to, not the valve only working one way, I also read that recovery consists of a liquid diet for like 6 weeks while it heals. I don't want to do that. Now, if I needed the procedure, if I was still going to have to take medicine if I didn't do it, I could, I could manage. I could tough it out with chicken broth with chicken word up into a liquid form for 6 weeks. Gosh, yuck. But I don't think I need to. I waited for a few weeks to see if the symptoms would come back, and they haven't. And now we're back to the CPAP. I think that it is starting to finally get better. Because of this whole experiment of trying to figure out how I was going to live with a one-way valve and the air in my stomach from the CPAP machine, I did a couple of experiments where I slept overnight with the pulse oximeter on my finger and didn't use the CPAP. So if I sleep with the head of my bed elevated, I have an adjustable bed, it doesn't bother me. I have little spikes that go down to like 83. It would get down to 83, but otherwise it was fine. But if the bed is flat, then I still was waking up with a headache and was having lower oxygen saturation. So trying it, you know, kind of alternating sleeping with the CPAP mask and without the CPAP mask and see how I do. Now, I made an appointment with my pulmonary specialist, the woman who wrote me the prescription for the CPAP machine and all that. And it's not till the end of December. So, I mean, gosh, it's over a month away. So I've got time to like sort of experiment with it and stuff. But, I mean, that's pretty good that I can, with some other adjustments, not have to use the CPAP machine. So I won't be dealing with all that air. Because, again, it's just really painful. So, as promised in my last video, I have some other video here of some baggy clothes and some loose skin. I can only do the loose skin on my arms because to show you the loose skin on my legs, I would have to put shorts on. And I fell down. I still fall down some. My joints are kind of wobbly still, but I fell down on the concrete sidewalk the other day and skinned the crap out of my knee. And it still just looks really gross. I mean, there's a big, huge scrape mark with 3 inches long and another smaller one above it. It looks all skin up still. And I didn't want to, you know, I didn't want to expose everybody to that. It's pretty rough. This video is getting really long. Geez, I didn't think I would have anything to talk about. Other important things to note. In the past 800 days, I have lost 127 pounds. Going from 380 and my starting weight, and that was just my right before Carnivore starting weight. Before that, I've been on and off keto for a long time, for like 5 or 6 years, trying to lose some weight and managed to lose 50 pounds. So my starting weight was over 400. It was about 432 was the highest that I ever measured it. And now it is 253. So that's a loss of 179 pounds overall. My trunk, I don't measure my waist because of the way my the loose skin on my stomach pulls down where my waist would be in the front, so it's really hard to get a measurement. So I have a little scar from my hysterectomy that's above my navel, so I measure that instead. So far it's still approximately in the same place. Whenever I first started this, my trunk was about 70 inches, and now it is about 53 the last time I measured it, maybe within the last couple of months. So that is 17 inches around my middle. That's a lot. And I notice it a lot. I mean, you know, like driving the car, and it's just so weird. And like being able to get closer to the sink to wash my hands, that kind of stuff. That's wild. Things you don't even think about. Being able to fit in seats better. And all of this is for my health. If none of this had happened, I would still be doing this just for the mental health benefits. But it's just crazy to watch the way my body is changing. And a question. Somebody did ask what I see when I look in the mirror still. She mentioned that she had and I can't look up her name right now. I'm sorry. I'll try to type it in. But she mentioned that she had lost maybe 70 pounds or so, a lot of weight. And whenever she looked in the mirror, she still felt like the same person. You know, she still felt like she looked the same as she did 70 pounds ago. And she asked if I felt the same way. And it's weird. I don't, you know, whenever you look at it every day, look at anything every day, you don't notice little minuscule changes in it. So, I mean, yeah, kind of. I don't recognize that I look like a different person because to me, I don't. You know, one of my sisters, she's like, "Oh God, your face looks completely different." But you know, I mean, it's been such a gradual change that it's hard for me to. Yeah, it's just weird. It doesn't. I guess if I hadn't been able to see myself for the last 2 years, I would notice a much bigger difference. So, having said that, I'm going to post a picture. This is going to take a lot of work. I'm trying to figure out how to do all this on my phone. I'm going to post a picture of myself in 2016 whenever I weighed over 400 pounds and compare that to now. Because I can definitely see a difference when I look at photos. And that's really strange. And enjoy the fashion show, I guess, after this. And if you have any other questions, let me know. I will be happy to answer them as honestly as I can. And as always, I hope you all have a great rest of your day and get access to plenty of whatever kind of food makes you feel your best. And I will see you in the next one.